Captain Jack Sparrow had always lived for the thrill of the unknown, but when a mysterious old map finds its way into his hands, he's drawn into a quest that could change the fate of the world. A hidden curse, an ancient city lost beneath the waves, and enemies both old and new lurk in the depths of the sea. The map promises riches beyond belief, but only if Jack can survive the perilous journey. With a curse looming, alliances will be tested, and Jack will face an adversary unlike any he's ever encountered. The race to Atlantis is on, but will Jack's luck hold, or will the lost city claim him first? It was a stormy night in Tortuga, the kind where the sea roars with fury, and the air smells of salt and danger. Captain Jack Sparrow, the notorious pirate, was at his usual haunt, the Broken Compass Tavern. Amid the clinking of mugs and the sounds of rowdy sailors, Jack's sharp eyes caught sight of an old man, hunched over a rickety table, muttering to himself. A familiar glint caught his eye, a glimmer of gold in the shape of an old map tucked under the man's arm. Curiosity piqued, Jack swayed his way over, slipping into a seat with his usual flair. "What's this you've got, old man? A treasure map, perhaps? Or a map to the nearest tavern with better rum?" Jack's trademark grin spread across his face. The old man looked up, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and madness. "It's not just a map, Captain Sparrow," he rasped. "It's a map to Atlantis. The lost city, cursed and forgotten. And whoever controls it controls the fate of the world." Jack's grin faded, replaced with a spark of intrigue. He leaned in closer, examining the map. Ancient symbols covered the parchment, the edges frayed and faded with age. It pulsed with an energy that was almost alive. A curse, eh? Jack was no stranger to curses, but the idea of Atlantis was a new one. A legendary city, rumored to be rich beyond imagination, hidden beneath the waves, if it even existed at all. Before Jack could ask more questions, the old man dropped the map into his hands, mumbling something about dark forces coming for it. With a quick nod, Jack stuffed it into his coat. He had a feeling this adventure was going to be far more dangerous than he ever imagined. The black pearl sliced through the waves with its usual grace, but Jack Sparrow couldn't shake the unease gnawing at the pit of his stomach. The map to Atlantis lay spread out on the captain's table, its ancient symbols still as cryptic as when he first laid eyes on them. But now, something felt different. The air around the ship had changed, thick with tension. The crew whispered of strange happenings, unexplained chills, odd dreams, and the eerie sound of ghostly voices carried on the wind. As Jack stood on the deck, staring out into the endless expanse of dark water, the sea seemed to stir unnaturally. A thick fog rolled in from nowhere, obscuring the stars and even the horizon. For a moment, the pearl was surrounded by nothing but a gray, suffocating mist. A shiver ran down Jack's spine, but he brushed it off with a muttered curse. "The sea's always been full of mysteries, mate," he mumbled, hoping to quell the unease building inside him. But the curse was already taking hold. That night, as the crew slept, Jack was awakened by a voice, low, guttural, almost a whisper in his ear. "You seek Atlantis, Jack Sparrow, but it does not seek you." He shot up in bed, heart pounding. His eyes scanned the room, but there was nothing there. Just the creak of the ship and the distant crashing of waves. The dreams grew worse, too. Night after night, Jack dreamed of the city, towering spires rising from the ocean, shimmering with gold, but a shadow lingered over it all. A monstrous shape, vast and terrifying, seemed to loom just beneath the waves. The curse had awakened, and it wasn't about to let Jack Sparrow reach Atlantis without paying a terrible price. The Black Pearl had sailed deeper into uncharted waters than ever before, its crew growing more tense with each passing day. The strange happenings had only intensified, waterlogged whispers in the night, the appearance of unfamiliar symbols etched into the ship's wood, and most unnerving of all, the eerie glow beneath the waves. Jack Sparrow's instincts were sharper than ever, and he knew they were on the edge of something far darker than any treasure hunt he had ever embarked on. As the pearl neared the coordinates marked on the map, the fog thickened again, this time more suffocating than before. The crew murmured in fear, but Jack stood at the helm, the map clutched tightly in his hand. According to the cryptic directions, the entrance to Atlantis wasn't above the surface at all. It was hidden beneath the water, a secret only the bravest, or most foolish, could discover. "We're close, mates," Jack called out, his voice unusually steady. "Prepare to dive. The city of gold awaits." The crew readied the diving equipment as Jack steered the ship toward the spot where the sea seemed unnaturally still. When they dropped anchor, the silence was deafening. Jack could feel it, a presence, ancient and watching, lurking just beneath the ocean's surface. Without hesitation, he led the way, plunging into the depths with a confident dive. The water swallowed him whole, and the cold embraced him like a long-lost friend. As he swam deeper, the outlines of something enormous began to take shape. Massive stone walls, towering spires, and a labyrinth of streets buried in the sea floor. Atlantis. Lost for centuries. But it wasn't empty. As Jack swam closer, he realized the city was alive with an unnatural energy. Strange shapes moved in the shadows. The curse had followed them. And now, the city itself seemed to be waiting for them. The ruins of Atlantis stretched before Jack Sparrow like a twisted dream, a city both magnificent and haunted. The crew, their faces pale and wide-eyed, moved cautiously through the sunken streets, guided by Jack's steady hand. Despite the danger, the treasure seemed almost within reach. Ancient gold glistened in the ruins, and strange, shimmering stones pulsed with a hypnotic glow. But beneath the awe lay a gnawing tension. The curse was tightening its grip, and Jack could feel it in his bones. The crew's loyalty, once steadfast, began to fray. Suspicion crept into the air like the thick sea fog that clung to the city's depths. Jack had known his crew long enough to recognize when something was off. At first, it was small things, whispers in the dark, crew members eyeing the treasure with increasing greed. But soon, Jack realized there was a far darker force at play. The betrayal had already begun. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the city, Jack found himself face to face with an old enemy. Bartholomew "Barb" Hawkins, the first mate who had once been Jack's most trusted ally. Now, Barb's eyes burned with something cold and unrecognizable. "You always were a fool, Jack," Barb sneered, his voice low, laced with bitterness. "You think the treasure is yours to claim? This curse belongs to the sea, not to a pirate." Jack's heart sank as Barb revealed his true intentions. The map, the treasure, it had never been about gold. Barb had been working with a rival sorcerer to unleash the true power of Atlantis. The curse wasn't just a warning, it was a trap. Before Jack could react, Barb's men surrounded him. Steel clanged as the betrayal was sealed. The treasure wasn't what Jack had thought. Neither was the city. Atlantis was waiting for its next master, and it wasn't Jack Sparrow. The walls of Atlantis groaned as if the city itself was waking up, responding to the chaos unfolding within its crumbling streets. Jack Sparrow's heart pounded as Barb's betrayal became clear, and the cursed city began to shift. The ground trembled, and the once still waters surrounding the city surged with a violent fury. It was no longer just about treasure, it was about survival. "Do you really think you can control this place, Barb?" Jack spat, his voice sharp despite the situation. "Atlantis doesn't want to be ruled. It devours the greedy." Barb's twisted smile only deepened. "Too late, Jack. The curse is already in motion. The treasure's power will be mine, and with it, I'll rule the seas." Jack's eyes darted across the scene. The crew, once loyal, now stood divided, some under Barb's sway, others unsure of what they had stumbled into. The city seemed to close in around them, ancient traps awakening, their mechanisms snapping into motion with deadly precision. Massive stone doors began to descend, sealing them in. With no time to lose, Jack sprang into action. "This isn't a treasure hunt anymore, mates," he shouted. "It's an escape." A tidal wave of water erupted from beneath the city's sunken streets, flooding the ruins and pushing the crew toward the crumbling exit. Jack grabbed the nearest crew member, an old friend from days past, and together they fought their way through the chaos, dodging falling debris and twisted metal. Barb's forces were scattered, overwhelmed by the city's violent retaliation against their greed. Finally, Jack reached the entrance, the Black Pearl waiting just beyond. The crew that hadn't been lost to the curse or Barb's treachery scrambled aboard, and with one last defiant glance at the city, Jack gave the order to sail. Atlantis was sinking, its secrets and treasures forever lost beneath the waves. "Next time," Jack muttered, eyes gleaming with that familiar mischievous twinkle, "I'll stick to treasure hunts with a bit less doom."